I've told you folks that I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of self-help books, some business books, some psychology books, and I want to be talking about some of my thoughts on some of these books and whether you should pursue these books or whether you should stay away from them. So the first one I'm going to be talking about today, it'll be rather quick. It'll be The Go-Giver. A little story about a powerful business idea by Bob Burg and John Davidman. Now, The Go-Giver, what you got to know is this is a fiction book, and it's essentially about a gentleman by the name of Joe. Now, before I go any further, I hate spoiling things like movies or books. I'm not going to give you any things away because for anyone who reads it, I want you to read it firsthand, not hear it from me. But to give you a little bit of an overview, it's a gentleman who's in this go-getter attitude, right? He's in business, and he thinks, you got to go out there and you got to take it. And this book, The Go-Giver, really makes you think about, giving, right? In a sense of, it should never be about, okay, how can I make as much money as possible? It's like, no. If you're self-employed, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, it should always be about how can I get the largest amount of value to the customer, right? What is it? Now you might say, well, McDonald's, right? You can make a better burger than a cheeseburger, but the distribution, right? They've got so many, they serve so many people. That's why they're on another level, Or let's say you've got, another burger place, right? Another burger place that's not as big as McDonald's, but their food is relatively cheap, and it's cheaper than other places. So what ends up happening is when a customer goes in and they pay for that burger, so let's say burgers and fries for like $8, then they have this perception of, whoa, I'm getting greater value than I'm giving in payments, right? Because if you think, man, like my $8 is totally worth this, this amazing burger and these amazing fries, I'm going to come back here next time. Not only that, I'm going to become a personal walking ambassador. I'm going to endorse these people for free. If my friend tells me, hey man, where should we get burgers? Oh, dude, we got to go here. They're amazing. And indirectly, they're amazing because in your mind, you believe that you're receiving greater value for the money that you're giving them. So really, it's not about as much as psychology as it is just a little bit about business, a little bit about giving. And overall, it's a very interesting book. It's very short. This is one thing that I loved. It was about, I want to say a total of just about 120 pages around there. Very easy to read, easy to digest. I don't like when books or movies, they put excessive amounts of information in there for you just to kind of get through, which is not necessary. And The Go-Giver does not do that. Everything's there for a reason. Easy to read. I read this thing when I was, I want to say 17. And then I understood everything, so you're going to understand everything. And I think it did a brilliant job with respect to being a fiction book, showing you a lot of these things that are very practical to the real world and how, whether you want to establish a brand, right? Whether you're an influencer, whether you want to start posting your art online, music, it tells you the importance of networking and just the importance of giving, right? And remembering that you want to become a person of value. You want to become valuable. Well, how do you become valuable, right? You give. You either give to a large amount of people or you give to, let's say, not that large, but what you give, it changes their lives, right? Why does a counselor, why can they get away with charging $90 an hour, right? It's that value that they give you, right? The greater the value, I would argue, the more, right, they have to charge you more, right? Because it's not about what they're doing necessarily, but it's the impact that it has on your life. So The Go-Giver does a brilliant job of really showing that in a very concise manner. Again, there's a lot that I left out because if you do want to read this book, that's I want you to stumble upon it yourself. It's absolutely dope. I'm pretty sure you can find it on Amazon. You can probably find it on, what's the other one called? Like Indigo. But yeah, really interesting, good, interesting book. It was a good read, good to go through, easy to digest, and some really solid ideas. Let me read you one of these ideas from this book. Let's see, because it had a couple of laws. And for example, I'll read you one thing straight from in here. It says, the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Right? Just going right back to what I said earlier in the discussion, right? It's measured by when I perceive the value that you are giving me is great and even greater than the payment that I'm giving you, that's when you got them. That's when you absolutely got them. Now, obviously, right, when you don't want to oversimplify this, and if you're a business, right, you don't want to go out of business, right? You still want to be able to pay for things here and there. But essentially it's saying, hey, if you do surgery, right, and if someone who has constant back pain doesn't have back pain anymore, well, based on that outcome and how much value you are granting them, you have a right to charge a hell of a lot of money, So it makes a lot of sense. So The Go-Giver, overall, good read, easy read. Who would I recommend this for? Anyone who really wants to look at networking, anyone who really wants to look at the importance of giving, the importance of changing your perspective from what does the consumer see, right? What is it from the consumer's perspective, and how do I hook you? How do I hook your attention? How do I get your attention? And how do I intrigue you? So anyone who's interested in networking and business from that sense, I would highly recommend The Go-Giver. It is a very interesting book. It was a very delightful thing to read. And that was one of the books that I read. And I'd say if you're interested in business and interested in networking, and greatening your exposure, right? Exposing your brand even further, I would highly recommend The Go-Giver. So definitely check that bad boy out.